runway 1, that's good.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway?
That's the FAA's cockpit recording moments before Flight 1549 made an emergency landing in the Hudson River nearly 14 years ago. It's a day most of us will never forget, but especially those who were on that flight. All of them survived. It was the miracle on the Hudson. Joining us now is one of those passengers, Dave Sanderson, who has just written the new book, From Turmoil to Triumph. Dave, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Christine.
So take us back to that day in January of 2009. You stayed on the plane after it crashed into the river and let everybody else leave before you. Why did you do that?
That wasn't my game plan. My game plan was aisle up out. That's what I kept saying in my head.
Yeah, get out.
But when I got to the aisle, something happened to change not only that day, but probably changed the direction I was going to take it. I heard my mom speak with me. My mom passed away in 1997, but there was something she would tell me when I was a child that popped into my head and was, if you do the right thing, God will take care of you. And the right thing for me was you take care of other people first. And
right.
That's why instead of going out, I went back towards the back of the plane to see if anybody needed help.
Well, God certainly did take care of you. You weren't even supposed to be on that flight. I know you had rescheduled to an earlier flight that day to get home to your family. I want to read a part of the book you wrote. I think God put me on that plane for a reason. It was my time to grow. He gave me the courage I needed to help others get off the plane and the strength to swim to the ferry. God's hand was on all of us that day. That is just amazing to me. Why do you think God put you on that flight?
I think this is my belief. God put this situation in place for people to see there is hope. This country was going through such a tumultuous time at that time. And I think it was the busiest market at the busiest time. And I think it was one of those situations where he wanted to put something in place where he said, I'm still here. And he put me on that plane. I think he could use me as a way to be able to show people that if you do the right thing, you know, there is hope. And I truly believe I was on that plane for a reason and a purpose.
So tell us about some of the lessons you may have learned that day, and what do you hope readers will take away when they read your book?
Well, one of the first big lessons is, and something that my mom used to say to me, is if you can't, you must. And what happened to me is I was trying to get on the ferry, and I can't do this. I can't climb after being in the water. But then I heard my mom say, if you can't, you must. And so I think it's one of the biggest lessons, because people right now especially, they're faced with so many things coming at them. They say, well, I can't get this done, I can't get this done, but if you make it a must, you can. I think that's one of the biggest lessons from that day. So
I know you were a religious man before you even got on this flight, but has this whole experience kind of strengthened your faith?
It's definitely been a reaffirmment of my faith. I've had so many faith experiences through this that I talk about, but I think God puts people in a place for a reason. And I believe that, you know, He's sent me all over the world, just like when He made the commandment, Jesus made the commandment, go around the world, right, to His disciples. That's what He's doing with me, and I've been very blessed to be able to share that message.
I think that, you know, you do that now. You're a speaker, you spread your story everywhere. So one quick thing, how were you able to get back on a plane after this crash? I think I'd be like, that's it, I take the train from now on.
Well, many people from that age still haven't got back on the plane. But the next day, I'll be very candid, the next day I was just being told what to do.
Yeah.
But the real challenge came the next week when my company asked me to fly to Michigan. And I got on a plane, and that was the first time I was alone. Plus I was on Delta, which is nothing wrong with, I love Delta.
Right.
But I was a rock star on US Airways. They knew who I was. And that was a really challenging time for me. But I talk about that experience now because that gave me, I think you have to face your fears.
Right.
And that's what gave me the opportunity to face my fear, get through it, and then be able to do what I'm able to do.
There's one other thing I read in your book which I found really interesting. Something about the number 15. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's amazing how that number's followed, because that day was January 15th, flight 1549. I was in seat 15A. It's approximately 15 yards to the end of the wing. Wow. I mean, and if you look at what time the plane took off, 1,500 hours.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
So I think there's something with the number 15 for me, and it follows me, and I believe that, you know, stands for being a leader, one who steps up, one who adds value. And whether I did all that, I don't know, I'll let other people decide, but I think that number 15 definitely had something to play with it.
Well, it was wonderful to hear your story. Thank you so much for being here. Dave Sanderson, author and survivor of The Miracle on the Hudson.
Thank you very much.
All right, and now if you'd like to get a copy of Dave's book, From Turmoil to Triumph, on Amazon or on his website, DaveSandersonSpeaks.com.
Hi, I'm Christine Persichetti, anchor of Currents News. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button on this video. And if you want to see more content just like it, subscribe and click on the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, because we are putting your faith in the news.